The morning the sky fell on Tokyo. 18 April 1942, 12:15 p.m. Imperial Palace, Tokyo. A perfect spring Saturday. Cherry blossoms drift across the moat of the Imperial Palace like pale pink snow. School children laugh on their way to lunch. Housewives beat futons from second-floor balconies. In the palace gardens, Emperor Hirohito himself, in a plain gray suit, walks slowly beneath the blossoms with a pair of aides, discussing poetry. Then the air raid sirens begin to howl. At first, no one believes it. Drills happen. Everyone knows the real war is 1,000 miles away, in places with strange names: Singapore, Java, the Philippines. The homeland is sacred, untouchable. The Emperor's soil has never felt an enemy bomb in 3,000 years. But the sirens keep screaming. People step into the street, shading their eyes against the noon sun. A low, unfamiliar drone grows louder in the east. Two silver twin-engine aircraft appear, flying so low you can see the white stars on their wings. American stars. One of them, B-25B tail number 402344, piloted by Lieutenant Travis Hoover, banks lazily over the palace grounds. The Emperor's aides freeze. A bodyguard instinctively steps in front of His Majesty. Hirohito does not move. He simply looks up, expression unreadable, as the bomber roars overhead at rooftop height. The plane does not drop bombs on the palace. It doesn't have to. Across the city, 16 more Mitchells are already scattering incendiaries in 500-pounders over oil tanks in Yokohama, the Mitsubishi Aircraft Works in Nagoya, shipyards in Kobe. Black smoke begins to rise. Anti-aircraft guns open up late, shells bursting far behind the low, fast targets. Zero fighters scramble from airstrips south of the city, climbing frantically, but the Americans are already gone, racing west at wave-top height. On a Tokyo playground, a 10-year-old girl named Keiko stands with her mouth open, rice ball forgotten in her hand. She will remember this moment for the rest of her life, the day the sky betrayed them. In the Imperial Navy's headquarters at Kasumigaseki, Admiral Matome Ugaki stares at the first frantic reports, face draining of color. He has spent years assuring everyone, the Emperor included, that no enemy aircraft could ever reach the sacred capital. He is wrong. And somewhere far out at sea, aboard the carrier Hornet, a very tired Lieutenant Colonel Jimmy Doolittle is still trying to believe they actually pulled it off. But the real explosion is only beginning, and it will be felt in the soul of an empire.
4 months earlier, the room where revenge was born, Washington, D.C., 21 December 1941. It is 2 weeks after Pearl Harbor. The city is still half in shock. Blackout curtains hang over the White House windows. In the map room, the air tastes of burnt coffee and cigarette smoke that never quite clears. Captain Francis Lowe, a submariner with a reputation for crazy ideas, spreads a photograph across the table. It shows Army B-25 bombers lined up on the narrow deck of the carrier Hornet during a test in Norfolk. Lowe taps the picture with one finger. "Sir, if medium bombers can take off from a carrier here, they can take off from a carrier 600 miles from Tokyo." Across the table, General Henry Hap Arnold, Chief of the Army Air Forces, doesn't laugh. He just stares at the photo for a long, silent minute. Then he picks up the red phone to the Oval Office. 3 hours later, a quiet, bespectacled lieutenant colonel from the 17th Bomb Group is yanked out of a training flight in Oregon and told to report to Washington immediately. His name is James Harold Doolittle, former stunt pilot, PhD in aeronautics, already a legend in aviation circles. When he walks into the room still wearing his leather flying jacket, Arnold doesn't waste words. "Jimmy, how would you like to bomb Tokyo?" Doolittle's answer is instant. "When do we start?" Within days, Eglin Field in the Florida Panhandle becomes a secret world. 79 hand-picked Army air crews, 5 men per plane, are told only that they are volunteering for extremely hazardous duty. They practice short-field takeoffs on a runway painted with the exact outline of a carrier deck. They learn to climb into a fully loaded B-25 in under 8 seconds. They practice low-level navigation over water until they can find a target blindfolded. On 1 April 1942, 16 stripped-down B-25Bs roll aboard USS Hornet at Alameda, California. Each carries 4 500-pound bombs, 3 incendiaries, 1 high explosive, and extra fuel tanks crammed into the bomb bay, the rear fuselage, even the crawlway over the wings. Range: 2,400 miles if everything goes perfectly. Margin for error? Almost none. At dawn on 2nd April, Hornet steams under the Golden Gate Bridge, escorted by Task Force 16, cruisers, destroyers, and the brand-new carrier Enterprise under Vice Admiral William Halsey. The plan is simple and insane. Sail to within 400 to 500 miles of Japan, launch at dusk, bomb at night, land in China before sunrise. But on the morning of 18th April, everything changes. 750 miles from Tokyo, 300 miles farther out than planned, a Japanese picket boat spots the American fleet. Radio warnings crackle toward Japan. Halsey has no choice. He turns to the signal lamp and flashes the 4 words that will echo through history: "Launch the bombers now." The sea is already angry. 30-foot swells, gale wind on the nose. The Hornet's deck rises and falls like an elevator gone mad. Doolittle's plane is first in line, engines screaming, props clawing at the storm. If even one bomber fails to clear the deck, the entire mission dies right here. And Tokyo is still 12 hours of flying away through the worst weather in the Pacific. The longest takeoff in history, USS Hornet, 18 April 1942, 08:20 Pacific Time. The carrier's bow drops into a trough so deep the flight deck disappears under green water. Then it rockets upward, 40 feet in a heartbeat, white spray exploding over the bow like a bomb burst. On the bridge, Captain Mark Mitcher stands with his cap pushed back, eyes fixed on the white line painted across the deck. 467 feet of usable runway. That is all 16 bombers have between them and the end of the world. Doolittle's plane, tail number 40-2344, sits trembling at the chalk line, twin Cyclone engines howling at full military power. Brakes locked. The deck is pitching so violently, the wings flex like a bird about to take flight. Lieutenant Dick Cole, co-pilot, grips the control column with white knuckles. In the bombardier's seat, up front, Staff Sergeant Fred Bramer counts the seconds until the flag drops. The launch officer, Lieutenant Edgar Osborne, stands in the open, wind tearing at his jacket, one hand raised. He waits for the exact moment the bow begins its upward climb. Now! The green flag slashes down. Brakes off, throttles slammed to the firewall. The B-25 lurches forward, heavier than any plane this size has ever been, 31,000 pounds of aluminum, gasoline, and vengeance. 60 miles an hour, 80. The deck is running out. The bow drops again sickeningly.
For one terrible second, the plane is flying downward toward black water. Then the upward surge hits. The Mitchell shoots off the edge like it was catapulted. It hangs in the air, engines screaming, sinks 10 feet, 20 feet, then the big wings finally bite and it claws upward into the storm. On the deck, every sailor who isn't strapped down is screaming themselves hoarse. One after another, 15 more overloaded bombers follow into the teeth of the gale. The last one, the Green Hornet, piloted by Lieutenant William Farrow, uses every inch of deck and still barely clears the wave tops. Propellers throw sheets of spray 30 feet high. At 0920, the flight deck is empty. Hornet turns east at flank speed, running for her life before Japanese carrier planes can find her. 670 nautical miles to the east, 16 lone bombers fly west at 50 feet above the waves, radio silent, alone in the vast Pacific, burning fuel they cannot spare. Behind them, the task force disappears over the horizon. There is no turning back now. Tokyo is 10 hours away, and every gallon of gas they burn now is a gallon they will not have when the sun goes down over China.